Susan, a woman of strength and beauty, stood in the war-torn world of 1914, her heart aflame with love for her fiancé John. A love so profound it could stir the heavens, and so fierce it could weather the storm of war. Susan, a beacon of hope and resilience, loved a man, not just in the tranquil moments of peace, but in the throes of war's brutal chaos. John, a soldier of honor, was summoned to the front lines of the First World War. A man of courage and valor, he left behind the woman who held his heart, promising his return to the arms that felt like home. They were two souls intertwined, their love story a testament to the human spirit's capacity for love amidst adversity. Let's journey back to the days before the war. Picture the two of them, Susan and John, basking in the glow of their love, oblivious to the oncoming storm. Their days were filled with laughter, shared glances, and whispers of sweet nothings. They danced under the moonlight, their love illuminating the darkness. They dreamt of a future together, a future that was as bright as their love for each other. John, with his eyes reflecting the promise of forever, knelt before Susan, offering his heart and a ring as a symbol of his undying love. Susan, with tears of joy in her eyes, accepted this promise of a lifetime. They envisioned a world after the war, a world where their love would be the cornerstone of their existence. But as the world plunged into the depths of war, their love was put to the ultimate test. Letters became their lifeline, their only connection in a world driven apart by conflict. They held on to the promise of a brighter tomorrow, their love serving as their beacon of hope amidst the deafening sounds of gunfire and bombshells. But as the war raged on, so did the flames of love, threatening to consume everything in its path. Their love story, set in the trenches of war, is a testament to the power of love, its ability to endure, and its capacity to shine brightest in the darkest of times. A letter arrived from the battlefield, its words scrawled in John's familiar handwriting. The scent of ink and parchment, stained with the harsh reality of war, filled the air. The words danced before Susan's eyes, each one a dagger to her heart. "My dearest Susan," it began, a cruel echo of their once shared affection. The letter, folded and worn, bore news far colder than the winter winds that swept through their small town. Mary. The name was etched into the parchment, a name that was not hers. "A nurse, here in the trenches," John wrote. "Her spirit is as strong as the sunrise, her heart as warm as the summer sun. I find myself drawn to her, a moth to her flame." Each word was a betrayal, a renouncement of their shared history, their shared dreams. Susan could hear John's voice in each sentence, could picture his face as he wrote the words that were shattering her world into a million pieces. He was in love with another woman, a woman named Mary, a woman who was not her. "The war has changed me, Susan," he confessed. "I am no longer the man you fell in love with. I am a soldier now, and my heart belongs to Mary." As the letter fluttered to the floor, so did Susan's dreams of a future with John. Susan, torn between love and betrayal, found herself in a battle of her own. In the midst of the world at war, our Susan was engaged in a conflict of the heart. This was no ordinary war, but a battle of love, where the weapons were words and the wounds deep and emotional. The battlefield was a quaint little cafe in the heart of London. Susan, once a woman full of life and laughter, now bore the weight of her broken heart. Her adversary, Mary, the woman who had stolen her John. As she sat across Mary, her mind was a whirlwind of confusion and despair. The love she felt for John was as palpable as ever, but so was the sting of his betrayal. Mary, a woman of elegance and charm, seemed unmoved by Susan's pain. But beneath the facade of indifference there was guilt. Guilt of falling for a man who was promised to another. Guilt of causing pain to a woman who had done her no wrong. As the accusations flew and the tension thickened, an unexpected revelation emerged. Mary confessed that she had not known of John's engagement. She had been in love with John, yes, but not to the extent of stealing him away. John, it seemed, had been the architect of his own downfall, a casualty of his choices. Susan was left grappling with this new truth. It was easier to hate Mary, to blame her for her heartache. But now she had to confront the fact that the man she loved had been the one to shatter her heart. She felt a strange mix of relief and sorrow. Relief because she was not alone in her pain. Sorrow because the man she had loved was not the man she thought he was. As Susan walked away from Mary, she realized that the war had not only taken John away from her, but also the woman she used to be. She was no longer the carefree, trusting woman in love. She was a woman hardened by betrayal, yet stronger for having faced it. The battle of love was over, but the war was far from done. In the quiet solitude of her room, Susan held a single photograph of John, her eyes filled with tears. The memory of him was as vivid as the day they first met, yet as distant as a forgotten melody. His laughter, his touch, his love, they all echoed in the silence of the room, painting a poignant picture of a love story interrupted by the cruel hands of fate. Susan's fingers traced the contours of his face in the photograph, each line and curve a painful reminder of what they once shared. Her heart ached for the man she had lost, yet knew she had to let go. In her heart she whispered a final goodbye to John, a farewell filled with sweet sorrow. She held the photograph close to her heart, as if trying to capture the warmth of his smile one last time. But the photograph was cold, as lifeless as their love story. The realization dawned on Susan like a cold winter morning. She needed to move forward, away from the shadows of her past. She had to let go of the pain, the heartbreak, the love that had once been the center of her existence. She had to find her own strength, her own courage, her own way. She had to find herself amid the ruins of her shattered heart. As the last tear fell from her eyes, Susan knew that the war had ended, not just for the world, but also for her heart.